Welcome back. The Alzheimer's Association is busy all year long helping fight Alzheimer's disease. And if you missed the walk in Virginia Beach, don't worry, because there are more walks and more ways to get involved. Joining me now to talk about all is Gino Calambaro. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I enjoy coming back here.
It's an important conversation because Alzheimer's touches many lives out there. Talk to me about the statistics.
Well, we have about 5.7 million Americans dealing with the disease. And of that 5.7, 200,000 are younger than 65, wow, which is alarming in and of itself. Also, in the state of Virginia, we have 140,000 people affected by the disease, and associated with them are 460,000 caregivers. So it does affect many people, and it has an impact not only emotionally but financially. The direct care costs for this year are estimated to be $277 billion, wow, which is almost $20 billion than last year, and over $74 billion from 5 years ago. And of that amount, 67% is borne by Medicare, Medicaid, which, you know, if we keep this rate, we won't be able to sustain that. But there's a lot of hope on the horizon. Right. I just attended the Alzheimer's Association International Conference, 59,000 researchers and clinicians from 68 countries, a lot of optimism in terms of the momentum of science to really deal with this disease and the urgency of the cause. And a great way to get involved is the Walk to End Alzheimer's. Right. It's about creating community. It's so many people who are dealing with this disease feel alone, and this allows them to see that they're not alone. It allows them to see all the community resources that are out there by our wonderful sponsors who are at the walk, and also it allows them to connect with our program staff to see about all our family services that we offer at no cost to families, and also to be advocates. And
you've already had several of these walks. They have been very successful. Tell me about the upcoming ones.
Well, we have one this Saturday in Onancock on the Eastern Shore, and then following that we have on the peninsula in Newport News at Port Warwick on October 20th, and then we'll round it out and finish it up in Williamsburg on October 27th at Newtown. So if people want to get involved, they can go to alz.org/walk or call 1-800-272-3900.
What can people expect at the walks?
Oh, well, like I said, it's about community, and they'll be able to really connect with other people going through the same thing they are, so they don't have to feel alone. They'll see the wealth of community resources that are available to them, and also they're able to engage, like become an advocate. We just got approved another $425 million for national Alzheimer's research efforts at the National Institutes of Health. That's because of our voices. And in the last 4 years, we've increased Alzheimer's research on the federal level by over $160 million. Now we're at $2.3 billion just focused on Alzheimer's through the National Institutes on Health. That's due to our voices out there. So people get an opportunity to engage in that respect as well as just really feel that they are not alone as they're navigating this disease, and can help deal with people and connect with people, can help them better journey through it.
Absolutely. A horrible disease, but there is hope on the horizon.
There is.
If you want to get involved, all the details have been posted for you on our website, 13newsnow.com. Gino, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate WBEZ being our media sponsor.
Of course, and we'll be right back.